Hi, welcome to the Pocket Pages book. We're making a cloth book with lots of pockets in pages, and we've been doing really well. We've done actually all the inside pages and we're starting on the cover now. So we're going to make the outside front cover today. The inside cover's done as a separate page, so it's kind of each side is a separate page, so we're having a bit of fun with this. There's a front cover up here in darker colours. So we've got some of the loopy hook and loop fastening here, and we've got a clear pocket so we could pop a name tag or some sort of label in there if we wanted to, or not. So it looks a whole lot like this, it's just different colours. So I've got started. If you're already getting the pattern from GourmetQuilter.com, you'll have a page that tells you all about what we're up to so far. We're just doing it page by page. So I've gone ahead, I've cut my pieces out, I've got some stiff stuff on the back of my background piece of fabric today from the cover fabric. I've got a piece of clear plastic for my pocket, and I have a strip, all the measurements are in the pattern. I have a strip that I've folded all the raw edges in and then in half again to make into a binding for our little clear plastic pocket. And I have already put the loop fastening on because we've done that before, and I didn't think you needed to see me sew that on. I'm sure you know how to do that. So we've done the binding type thing on pocket edges before, but we haven't sewn on clear plastic on this occasion before. So it's really no different though. I'm just going to put a little piece of the clear plastic, which you probably can't even see, right inside into the fold, so that that's folded right over the plastic. And I'm just going to do a line of stitching to hold that in place. So we just want to stitch fairly close to the actual fold that's nearest the plastic, not the outside fold. And just a line of stitching is all it takes. And it shouldn't, because we're sewing with the cotton fabric underneath, that should just take fine. It may want to start gripping to your sewing machine, so you may find you've got to lift it up or find a piece of tissue paper or something like that to sit underneath that will allow it to just slide through. But I find if I lift it, and because it's pulling on the cotton fabric to feed it, that works fine for me. So we just need to do that on that side and the opposite side, and we're just going to trim those absolutely level with the plastic on the two sides, but not on the ones that go across. So I might go ahead and put the other side on, and then I'll show you how we do the top and bottom, because it's not much different but just a little bit different. So I've gone ahead and put the binding around the whole of my piece of plastic here. So there's two sides that we did first, and we trimmed them even with the plastic, but these other two edges we just want to leave them a little bit longer so that we can turn that little edge in. So, and on the top edge, or well, now I've made the top where you could slip something in along my top edge here. You might prefer to do it on one of the sides, in which case you might want to turn it around before you put your binding on and do it around the other way. So on that top edge, the one that's going to be open, I've stitched, as well as that first line of sewing near the clear plastic, I've done 2 more lines of sewing just to make it look nice and finished, and we will be doing 2 more on these other 3 sides, so then it kind of all matches. So then I would suggest that we just trim this, maybe leave about 3/8 of an inch sticking out for turning under, and then we can position it. Now just be careful you don't iron plastic. You know about plastic, don't you? It melts when it gets hot. However, you can iron very close by, so I can actually iron the fabric just nearby there, just to press that under, but not put my iron actually straight onto that plastic. I can use one of the Teflon mats as well, but it still gets a little bit hot, so it's not necessarily a good idea to have the iron over the top of the plastic at any stage. So if I just press all these in, and we can position them onto the cover, and then they'll be stitched in with that extra 2 rows of stitching that we're doing, so that gives us a nice finish on it then. So I've got my open edge sitting along the top there. I'm just going to position this on the side, so all the measurements are in our pattern piece. for positioning and for cutting, and everything's there. So I'm just going to pop this on. Now I might stick a couple of pins into this, because you can pin straight into this stiff as long as it just goes along rather than right through, and it works quite nicely. Make sure that your little ends are turned in nicely as well, so that you've got nice square corners, unless you want a different shape corner, of course. And so I'm ready now to do 2 more rows of stitching right through the stiff stuff and things as well, to match the top. So one close to the edge and then one right in the middle all the way around. So I'll go ahead and get started on that. So that it's really only the same as stitching another pocket on, just being aware that you've got that plastic in there and that you should not iron that plastic. And unpicking on plastic's not always good if you've made a mistake, so just be aware of things like that, because once those holes are in that plastic, they're kind of there to stay. So I'm just going to come down to the corner and turn. So really the front cover is quite quick and easy to make, which is always a nice thing, because we've got so many pockets behind us now. We know how to make pockets. It's going to be a fun project, this one. I'm looking forward to seeing it finished. So a little back stitch at the start and stop, and then I'm just going to come round and I'll do another row of stitching in there, and then other than that I don't think you need to watch me do that, because this is what we're doing. It really looks like that. We've got to put a hooky fastener on there, and again all the measurements are in the pattern. So that was it for the outside front cover, and I'll see you again probably with the inside front cover.